All right, we are talking Tide here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, with week one just about 10 days away for Alabama and Duke, with another neutral site opener for the Crimson Tide. You got Stephen M. Smith on the line from touchdownalabama.com. Touchdownalabama.com. I encourage you to jump over there and get your Alabama fill right there with Stephen and the rest of the staff. Stephen, how you doing today?
Doing well for the first time. The people can see my face again.
There you are. It's good to see you. Good to see you. And good to always get your update. The most energetic, the most fervent, ardent, passionate Alabama analysis you're going to find anywhere. This is why we go to Stephen on a regular basis. All right, Stephen, before we dive into what's been happening in fall camp with that final fall scrimmage in the books now, we do have a bit of recruiting news, not necessarily anything concrete, but a lean right now by the nation's number one tight end.
Yes, sir. The nation's number one tight end, the 5-star Arik Gilbert out of Marietta, Georgia at 6'5", 265 pounds. He's a lean to Georgia, but there is Alabama, the possibility for the Crimson Tide to be in play. Got a chance to speak with a couple of sources I know close to Gilbert. The main thing with him is it comes down to how the Crimson Tide will use Jaleel Billingsley, the tight end, of course, that it got in the 2019 class. If Billingsley is used primarily deep within the offense, there's a good chance Arik Gilbert does come to the Crimson Tide for 2020. If Billingsley is not the case for Alabama, heavily used in the offense, then you will definitely see Gilbert go to Georgia and Kirby Smart. So it depends a lot on how much will Jeff Banks, Nick Saban, Steve Sarkisian, how much will the offense use Jaleel Billingsley within the offense this season that will play a massive role in will the Tide, or does the Tide sign the number one tight end in the country for 2020 in Arik Gilbert?
All right, Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, talking Tide. We got Stephen M. Smith on the line from touchdownalabama.com. Of course, Alabama is just finishing up the fall preparations for the Duke Blue Devils in the big opener on a neutral site field once again for Alabama, with a number of contracts being signed over the offseason for some big-name opponents in future years. Before we dive into the fall camp news with Stephen, I want to remind you that the Amazon link is down in the description below, and you can grab that link and do your Amazon shopping right there and help support the channel, as well as get my exclusive predictions, my weekly predictions on college football. I just shot a video and posted it displaying the full prediction record, Stephen, for myself against the spread, the money line over the past 10 seasons. So it's all time stamped. I can't fabricate anything. It's all up there. It's all on YouTube. So I gave the prediction record, but those picks are going to be exclusive on our Voice of College Football community. So go to the link down below. All right, Stephen, fall camp, as we mentioned, the final scrimmage in the books. What has stood out to you in regards to the big storylines that you're going to take away heading into the Duke game?
Well, number one, first and foremost, Mark, is Mac Jones is ready to play now. The redshirt sophomore quarterback out of Jacksonville, Florida, former 4-star in the 2017 class, came in with one Tua Tagovailoa. And although Tua is the number one guy, he's the number one option, it's good to see Mac Jones, the backup, step up, emerge, rise, and take that number 2 job. He was in a heavy battle with the younger Tagovailoa, Talia, who was a 4-star in the 2019 class out of Thompson High School. Both of these two young men battling, but the elder one in Mac Jones able to beat out Tagovailoa, securing that number 2 job. He has shown much growth in his leadership, much growth in his passing mechanics, and just being able to play the next play. There are times where something is not going to bounce your way, but not holding on to that, being able to focus on the next play and keep yourself in position in the right proper motive and the right proper mindset. So just some things that Mac Jones has done in summer workouts and fall camp to position himself to be the number 2 guy. Other storylines in this offensive line, Mark, I've talked about it every single time I'm on here with you. The beef is back. It's a lot of it. and it's a lot of rotating pieces along this front. Now, of course, your two offensive tackles are solidified. Jedrick Wills at right tackle, Alex Leatherwood at left tackle, but it's the interior guys. Alabama has 6 different guys that they can play at those guard and center spots there. When you look at Chris Owens, Emil Ikior, Evan Neal, the big 6'7", 360-pound true freshman, Matt Womack, Landon Dickerson, the transfer coming in from Florida State, who has done an incredible job thus far. So just the depth of this group. I got a chance to speak with Matt Womack, the redshirt senior at Alabama's open practice / fan day, and he said, dude, I have never seen this line as deep as it is in my time here. This is a very deep group, and it's got the coach and Kyle Flood, who is a no-nonsense coach coming over from the National Football League with the Atlanta Falcons. He is strong. He is technically sound. He gets after you. He gets in your face. He wants things done correctly. So high on this offensive line, excited about Mac Jones and what he's going to be able to do. At the running back position, Alabama does lose Trey Sanders, the 5-star true freshman for the season. Had a slight foot issue in fall camp. Really hated to see that happen, but you do have your two primary guys, Najee Harris, Brian Robinson, your 2 main backs. Behind those two, you've got Jerome Ford and Keelan Robinson, another true freshman. And I think with Ford and Keelan Robinson, they can combine, give you the type of production that you would have gotten from a Trey Sanders this season. So running back group, pretty strong there. In the defensive secondary, another group that's strong, deep experience. Your main guys, Patrick Surtain II, Trayvon Diggs, guys like Shaheem Carter, Jarrett Maiden, Xavier McKinney. You have a young guy coming up in Josh Jobe, who these veterans very excited for Josh Jobe. I got a chance to speak with Trayvon Diggs Monday in player interviews. He called Josh Jobe, the sophomore, the hardest hitter on his team. Aggressive, smart, physical, growing in confidence, but a guy that will light you up. Josh Jobe, very, very hard hitter. He takes pride in frustrating some of the best receivers in college football, and he's been doing it in practice against the likes of Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Jalen Waddle, and Devonta Smith. So Josh Jobe, definitely a name to keep your eye on. In terms of the linebacker position, opposite Dylan Moses, this is where the fun is, Mark. There is a 5-man battle for weak side linebacker. Five-man battle right now at weak side linebacker. You got 2 freshmen, Christian Harris and also Shane Lee, 2 guys really, really pushing. It was Christian Harris who actually got the start at weak side linebacker during the Tide's second scrimmage of fall camp. Nick Saban throwing some praise toward the freshman, saying that the guy's a football player. He's been making plays all fall camp. The main thing with him is continuing to grow within the knowledge of the system for both he and Shane Lee. You also have Jalen Moody, a sophomore, Brandon Alakeho, a sophomore, and a redshirt sophomore in Markel Benton. All 5 guys battling, but right now the 2 true freshmen in Harris and Shane Lee really, 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 really pushing. And should one of these 2 win this job, going to be very interesting. But both freshmen have a lot of skill, have a lot of athletic ability. And just in terms of the defensive front, the defensive line, Raekwon Davis, leadership role for the senior. He's trying to recapture what he did not do in his junior year, which was consistently affect the quarterback. I believe DJ Dale, the true freshman, will step in the absence of Quentin Williams and take over at that nose tackle position. And then the opposite defensive end role will be occupied by LeBron Ray, the former 5-star from the 2017 class. But behind him, look for Justin Eboigbe, the true freshman 4-star out of Georgia. Eboigbe was actually taking reps the first couple of weeks of fall camp as LeBron Ray was recovering from ankle surgery. So I know that's a mouthful I just ripped through there, Mark, but that's the fall camp update as of right now.
Stephen, you've got a high standard. That's what we expect here, is for you to rip through and give us every little tidbit that you can finally muster from either side of the football, because that's the standard that you've set, Stephen. So it's a high one. So I expect no less. Stephen M. Smith on the line, talking Tide. Of course, the final scrimmage in the books for the fall, and Duke is in the sights straight ahead. And everyone, I'm still letting it sink in what Stephen said about the evaluation of the offensive line. So think over the last 10 years since this program has dominated college football, this has generally been the best offensive line over that decade. Maybe they've slipped to number 2 or 3 in the nation, but it's always been a top 3 line. But to say that this group may be the deepest and the most talented, that is a serious, serious statement.
I mean, Nick Saban came out himself and just said verbatim, I really like this offensive line. I like the pieces we have. I like where we are. I like our tackles. This can be one of the best offensive lines we've had here. And this is verbatim Nick Saban. So when Nick Saban, verbatim, who likes to keep things close to the vest, but when the 67-year-old 6-time national champion can come out verbatim and say things like that, it is a very positive sign moving forward.